talk show live, lead from within, find your own voice. With me today, Carol Ann. Carol Ann, please introduce yourself to our audience.
Thank you, Nomsa, and good afternoon from London, UK. And as the writing facilitator, what I do is I support women in becoming more productive with their writing by helping them to connect with their deeper innate ability to write. But more importantly, they experience free-flowing writing. They experience an unlocking of the writer within and getting their book written, getting their story written, because you cannot publish what isn't written. And all of that has come about through my own journey of unlocking the writer within.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Carol Ann. So our topic today is how to deal with imposter syndrome. And Carol Ann, you chose this topic. I'm going to let you explain to our audience why you chose this topic because I think it's something that people need to basically realize that actually we don't have to feel fake. If you're working hard and there are some people that they go to work every single day and they develop their skills, they work hard, they get promoted, and they still feel that they don't deserve what is going on and what they have. And we start our own businesses like right now, working hard, and we still don't feel that we deserve. If we get really successful, we feel that we don't deserve. There are some people that billionaires and millionaires, some of them still feel that they don't deserve to be where they are. So I'm going to ask you to actually explain to our audience. And also, is there overnight success? I don't believe that for me, basically, there is overnight success. I believe that we get to see people, the success, but we don't get to be told the pain, the tears that they had to go through before that. So over to you, Carol.
Overnight success. It just appears that way, doesn't it?
Mm.
And actually, it's success in what terms? And this term, imposter syndrome, I used to hear it a lot. I hadn't heard it, and then a few years ago, I kept hearing it, and I kept going, "Oh, what's that? What's that? It's just another label. It's just another excuse." And then I started to realize that what it actually meant, because I started to realize that I was not thinking of myself as a writer. I didn't feel I had the right to say I'm a writer because of my journey, because of where I'd come from, because I never used to be a writer, and because of the struggles that I had. And now here was I saying I can help people with their writing. And I found myself questioning it and going, so who do I think I am saying that I can do this when I myself haven't got anything published, I haven't got anything written, and I'm not writing. And people would say to me, you're a writer. And I go, in my head, I was like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. And I caught myself saying that to myself and realized what that term imposter syndrome meant. You know, in the fact as I felt like I was not who I said I was. That's the belief that I had. And so I started to turn that around and really look at it. And that's what you can do. But it is actually catching it. What is it? What aspect of imposter syndrome is there for you? And catching it. And then really look at it and go, well, is this actually true? And I started to realize that actually I was helping people with their writing. It was my experiences that I'd gone through that was allowing me to help them and support them. And what I'd learnt, my tools and techniques, was something different to other people had experienced. And I think that the thing for me was it was so different to the way most people expect someone to help them with their writing. They were expecting somebody who, okay, I used to be a maths teacher, so therefore I must be an English teacher. I must be doing it the same as you learned it at school. And that's how I kept finding people were expecting that from me. And I go, but no, that's not what I do. So I was actually putting down what I do, and I had to really get real with myself and say, no, this is different. What I do is different. It's nothing like you do at school. I help you go in and unlock the writer within and talk to that inner writer, work with that inner writer. And then I realized that actually I had become a writer because I have become published. And I am now in 10, now I've got 10 pieces in 6 community book projects. So it is really taking stock of what the truth is. What is it that you're saying to yourself, and where does it stem from? And I think that actually everybody has this, some aspect of it. So even if you turn up as if you are an overnight success, as you said, Namsa, nobody has seen all of the struggles that have gone on beforehand, all of the rejections, the failures, and the thoughts of, oh my goodness, I can't do this anymore. But there's just that something that keeps you going until it's like the universe goes, oh, okay, you can have it, And I love what Eleanor Roosevelt says. She says, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. So it's only you that actually listen to what other people say, or looking at what other people are doing and comparing yourself, and you're the one that's actually doing it to yourself. So it's sorry, what wants to be said here is like, yeah, how to deal with imposter syndrome. So just thought it would be a great topic to explore, to see what it is about and how you can deal with it. So what's your experience of it, Namsa?
I like it, Carol Ann, when you say basically sometimes there were times where your inner voice would tell you, like, who do you think you are? And you are not a writer. And you basically believed that you are a writer. Because when you help someone to unlock that writer within, is a gift that you have, is a gift that you share with the other people. And when those books are published, when people publishing their book, they celebrate and they come and they celebrate with you, and that is an amazing thing, that basically gift that you can give it to someone. And also you mentioned that when people, there's no such thing as overnight success, and nobody has seen rejection or failure. That is so true, because people intend to, when someone just comes out and they're successful, we don't know what that person has gone through. We don't know the pain, the whatever the failures, whatever they've tried before. We don't know it. And our job, basically, we celebrate them, we judge them at the same time, and not knowing what they've gone through. But then if it will be up to that person, for them to basically, because they know their story and they know where they've been, it will be up to them to believe in what they do, and even the failures that they've gone through, and see it as a learning curve. Because some people, basically, imposter syndrome, it starts when someone fails, and when they fail, They basically are scared of being judged by people. And we don't know that failure is learning. When you fail something, you don't have to pretend to be something that you're not. You're learning whatever you learn from that success, from that thing that you're learning. And for me, basically, starting my business, I think what helped me not to feel this imposter syndrome is because of my psychology degree. When I started my work, I was studying basically my degree in psychology. So every week for me, it was a battle where I will battle with my feelings and basically coming to a realization that uh, life, we take life for granted. It made me appreciate what I do, the hard work that I do, and appreciate myself as a person. Before, I don't think I would have done that. I would have questioned myself. So there was no time to question myself because I was discovering myself every single week. Like when I write the assignment and doing some research, I'll be rediscovering who I am, the things that I take for granted, even the roads, the things that I wouldn't notice on the roads when I'm walking, like little things, I'll start noticing things. So it was in that way, it helped me a lot. My degree helped me a lot to actually open my eyes and say, yes, I need to appreciate myself. But I think I would have questioned myself. And even when things were getting tough, there was no time for me to question myself. I would do the assignment and ask myself if I had a client and helping them to basically find who they really are using my psychology, helping them therapy. What would they do if they were stuck like me? So that's when I'll seek help. Instead of getting stuck and thinking I'll do it all myself. So I'll just rate my assignment and say, when I'm sending off to my tutor, I'm sending off help messages for people to help me. So it did help me a lot. But otherwise, I would have taken life for granted. I would have taken my work for granted by not acknowledging what I do. So in that way, it did help. I don't know what it would have been if it went for my psychology. I don't know. But I think basically people need to recognize their abilities, embrace your abilities, embrace the person you are becoming. You don't have to question yourself. We tend to worry about what people think, but we don't embrace who we are becoming or value the things that we do. Like myself, when I come to you, like watching your challenge, it's all about valuing that person that is doing that challenge, but I don't know how you feel about your challenge. But for me, it's adding value to people. Because to be honest with you, content nowadays is very. If I want like few pages for somebody to write content for me for my business, they'll charge me £600 or £500. It's not cheap. So over to you, Carol Ann. Yes, it's not cheap.
It's not cheap. I got it. And actually, I love what you were saying about your discovering yourself through doing your degree and getting to know who you are. And it is about allowing yourself to go into those struggles, because it is through those struggles you really get to know about yourself, and you can actually find out what you're capable of. And I think sometimes people that have found it naturally, that they've breezed through learning, but suddenly come up against something that is really difficult and they're struggling with. That's another form where some people can feel like they're being an imposter, they're being a bit of a fraud, because they've now got to struggle. So there's something wrong with them. That's not how they've normally found it to be. But what you need to realize is that you've actually created a limiting belief there, that if you have to put in brain work and effort, it means you're not good enough. You've created a meaning to it because you've decided it should come naturally because that's what you're used to it being. And therefore, by having that limiting belief, you're stopping yourself from actually embracing the struggle. And as you say, embracing who you are and who you're becoming and working through it to discover abilities that you didn't realize you had. Because if everything is easy, you're not really learning a great deal. You're just learning that everything is easy. And when you do come up to something that you struggle with, it's like, oh, that's not right. Shouldn't be like that. All of a sudden, there's a should in there. It shouldn't be this way or it shouldn't be that way. And you stop yourself. So you need to wake up to that because that you're in a comfort zone. And what's happening is that you've now found something outside of your comfort zone. So it's about allowing yourself to expand your comfort zone to include that was outside of it. Because actually, if you start to include that and get to know it and work with it, so it becomes in your comfort zone, it becomes something that becomes natural to you. If you look around, all of a sudden you'll find there's a whole lot of other things that were outside your comfort zone that now you can do. Because it isn't just that one thing that would have been outside the comfort, outside your comfort zone. And so, yeah, do recognize where, if you're thinking, oh, that should be easy, I should be able to do this easily, you've stopped. Allow yourself to feel the struggle. Know that there are tools and techniques that can help you ease that struggle. Because yes, I've come to realize that you don't need to struggle as much as you think you do, because there are tools and techniques that help you to work through that struggle, to work through those blocks in a much more comfortable way, easier way. I'm not saying it's always comfortable, but it allows you to be with the discomfort, with the struggle, and then break through into something that is like, wow, that's easy. Didn't know it could be that easy. And so it's as you said, Nomsa, it's discovering abilities and discovering things about yourself that you didn't realize. And we do have many more abilities than we think we have, way more than we could actually access in our lifetime. But it's our, say, duty because there is a quote, God's gift to you is more gifts, not more abilities than you could possibly use in a lifetime. Your gift to God is to, I can't remember the whole phrase now, is to actually realize as many of those abilities as you can. I'll have to look it up and find it, but I love that quote. Steve Bow is the person that gave the quote. And so if you realize that there is way, way much more than you can do, then stop and go, okay, if there is, how can I make it happen? What needs to happen for me able to wake up those abilities, use those abilities? And where am I stopping myself? Because maybe it's got a bit hard and I think it shouldn't be. So certainly when you're stuck, get help. Like you said, Nomsa, reach out for someone to talk it through with, or who can actually work with you to help you work through those blocks. Yeah.
That's true, Carol, and I like it when you say by when you actually decide that everything should come natural. It's the limiting belief that you're actually planting in your life, and you say allow yourself to expand as well. So I think that is a good idea, because when it comes to business, like what we do, yes, there's a talent that comes natural. There are some things that you basically do it and get on with it. You know that I can do this, but not everything will come natural. We're not supposed to know everything. That's why there's places where you can outsource. You can have people to help you. So we are basically not supposed to know everything to say, I should know this. No, you shouldn't. You learn it and then you know it. So you shouldn't say, I should know this or I should know better. Allow yourself to feel the struggle, like you are saying, Carol Ann. That is the best idea for me. Basically, if you were to ask me something where I felt the struggle, and I will explain it to you how it gets done, because I felt that struggle and I've learned through that struggle, and I've learned to seek help as well. So it does help me a lot. It's like before we came live, you were asking about the house. For me, basically, I've learned now that having money, money is not everything. You could have a struggle even if you do have the money. Like I've been looking for the house for, I think, for 6 months now. And I was thinking about it a few days ago that some people, they always say, I wish I had this, I had money, all my problems will be over, will be sorted out. But actually, money is not everything. So you still have to go through other channels in order for you to get to where you need to go. You can't scream at people, you can't do anything. I remember when I was on the phone a few days ago, chasing the guy to sign the signature for the house. And I'm laughing to this woman. I'm like, I've been calling him. He's not returning my call. Do you think he's alive? He's okay. And she's laughing. She goes, he is definitely alive, because I tried to ring him as well. He cut me off. So I was like, oh, that's okay. Because, like right now with the pandemic and stuff, people just, anything just is happening. You worry when someone doesn't return your call. So it basically give you that, basically, as a person, that regardless of what you have, you're still gonna have to go through struggles. You cannot buy your way through to basically finish things very quickly. You still have to go through the same channels like everybody else. So that's what I've been learning, the
Yeah.
struggles of finding a home. I was like, I just sometimes I look at it and I just laugh, and I'm like, if I wasn't into personal development, I could be under the pillows crying my eyes out, not knowing that
Mhm.
life is the process, is how things should be, and also it basically uh, it comes back to what you just said, that we shouldn't know everything, and we shouldn't think that if also we shouldn't think that everything should just happen to us right because we deserve it. So life is a process. So I've learned that maybe there is a reason why I have to go through this life. So maybe God wants me to appreciate life more and more and more. So I'm gonna do that. The more things take time, I go through struggle, the more I basically appreciate it, instead of putting an imposter syndrome, or basically thinking that I'm not enough and things like that. So we have to be aware of our feelings, and basically have the gratitude and accept ourselves for who we are, and not basically comparing our lives with other people. Like right now, I'm looking for a house. Everyone around me, they know that I'm looking for a house, but I would never compare my life with anybody else, because I know if I do start comparing my life with somebody else, God will be very upset. and I'll be stealing my joy as well. And if I start screaming, the mouth is basically another thief of joy. We have to watch the words that we say as well. So for me, basically, it's like I'm praising God. I'm just like, whatever happens. And when it comes to this imposter syndrome, the business, if I don't know anything, like if I'm learning something and I find it very, very complicated, like the other day, I was writing something and I find it very, very hard. I have a friend who is a writer. He loves writing, he loves sending me things that he's written. So I said to him, uh, can you read this, proofread it? And he proofread it, and he came back to me and he had rewritten it in his own version. He said, your version, I like your version, but here is mine as well. So I was actually laughing. He made me laugh. He actually made me laugh, and I was like, "What now? What are we talking about?" And it was like, "You got to keep things exciting, no?" So it was like, "Wow, it is amazing." So I'm learning. I'm like, I'm not gonna get frustrated if I know even sometimes when I'm looking for topic, Kero Ani, if I'm not sure about
Mm,
something, I always send a message to you to say, "Can you have a look at it? Is it written properly?" Or is it where it's meant
mm,
to be? Because there is no point in me stressing and why do you have brains and why you can help me within a second. So I've learned that, but I've learned it the hard way. I've not been always like that, where I seek help when things are not working. I've learned to value myself. I've learned to appreciate the things around me. I've learned to, when things are not working, I've learned to, my family, they know basically when things are not working, I tell them that, but before they'll be like, oh, why? Because I've got a group with my family. When things are not working, I always put something. But when I've sorted out the problems that I've been going through this, but I've managed to sort it out. And my siblings couldn't get what I was doing. So I said to them, what is the point of me having everyone, my family saying, Nomsa, we love you. And then I'm pretending that my life is glory. My life is full of glory. There is no struggle. Everything that I do basically is amazing. And I said to them, that means I'm being fake. So I've got to be real. If I need you guys to become who you want to become, I'm gonna have to be real. And now they get it. They get it that this is what life is about. Because some people they like to show other people things that our life is this amazing, while life is not amazing. So for me, basically,
mm,
at this moment, since I've started my degree, I'm trying to be normal. And when because I was doing my exams last year, and no, this guy was 2 months ago at the university, and my tutor was really worried. He said, Nomsa, if you don't have Wi-Fi where you are, I had to ask for my mobile phone for them to put more Wi-Fi so I can write and stuff. And now I can use connect with something else on the phone, like roaming stuff.
mm,
So I have loads of internet. And before, my tutor got worried. So he was like, I'm going to refer you. So the university calls me, and I was like, listen, when someone is studying something, this is my life is being tested right now. If I'm studying psychology and every little problems that is being presented to me and I'm quitting, I'm saying I'm out, and you are just suggesting for me to default my thing and wait until next year. And I was like, it doesn't make sense. I've got to keep going because this is where my life is being tested right now. That I'm saying I am a psychologist, and when things are presented to me, problems are being presented, you are asking me to quit. So I asked the guy, and he was like, Noms, I've never looked at life in that way. Now you're putting me on the spot. I'm really sorry. We shouldn't have called you. We never looked at life that way. So I said to him, listen, this is my final year. I am finishing my work. and I'm going to sit there with my clients and tell them everything is going to be okay. Do this, while me, I'm failing to actually be a good example. So I said to him, let me be a good example. I will write my, and I was facing really challenging because I was in a place where I had to do some research. And I was like, I'm not going to tell you that things are easy. It's not been easy, but I'll get there. So I did get there. I did finish the project that was really, really hard. The project that was hard is where I had to send you guys to sign for me. So that was the hardest project because I had to do analytics. I had to do all this. And when you don't have the equipment, so when I go to work, I have to work with my clients. When I come home, I don't have basically then because basically we're still looking for a home. And this house has been, it's like, yes, we found it. The process now of signing, everybody signing is like, I'm like, okay, so the universe is showing me that this is what life is, Nomsa. Life is not easy. You have to embrace it and show people that testimony when you finish. Even the guy, when I was talking to him, he was like, this is a testimony for you, Nomsa. I've never thought life that way. So he was like, we will support you, whatever, either way will support you. So I was like, that's all I need. I need you guys to tell me to push it, not to quit. It's not an option.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well
I
done.
don't know, Carol, and whether you have ever had that situation where basically you feel like I know you were saying we don't have to do it all, where you feel like I want to quit right now.
Oh, yes. There's a lot of that going around at the moment, actually. There's a lot of people, some people I've been speaking with,
Yeah,
and I've heard somebody else say the same,
yeah,
that people they've been speaking with, that there's a huge energy going round about, I can't continue with this. There's a desire to just let it all go and give
yeah,
up.
yeah,
That questioning of, well, what am I doing?
yeah,
And certainly I had that this morning again. It's a really strong, oh, just let it go. Wouldn't it be easier just to say it's not happening? I'm not going to do it. The in-person retreat that I've got in October that has been put off 4 times now because of lockdown. It's happening in October. And because there are steps that I haven't got done yet, and there's conversations I haven't had yet, um, there's only one person that's actually on there at the moment. There's potentially another person. I need to follow up with a conversation, which I haven't done. But I can feel this whole energy, and it was there with me this morning. It was like, wouldn't it be easier just to go, no, give up, ask for your deposit back, let it go? And it's like, where's this coming from? Because it is such a strong, convincing voice and feeling, within. And so I think it's just recognizing that there is something going round at the moment, and it is having that feeling in and going, no, I'm not giving up. There's a breakthrough for me to be had here, because it is in that moment of struggle, that moment of, oh, let me just let it go. Right there is that time where you could have the breakthrough, where all of a sudden you could show up as an overnight success because you decided to keep going. You took the actions you've been putting off taking to actually get there. So certainly, and I know, years ago, often my ex-husband often used to sort of say to me, "Oh, you're doing too much," and he often put the query there about doing something or questioning what it was I wanted to do, put all the doubts in the, well, no. And there was something in me that went, I'm going to show you, I am doing this. And I had a real internal strength and want to show people, you know, I would not be told I couldn't do something. And I seem to have lost that at times, and that's what I'm recognizing. It's reconnecting with that, because having done all of this work, I am in a completely different space now. I think there's a different way to approach this. I think there's a way of finding that inner strength, that what was defiance before, and I'll show you, bring that energy in a different way to somehow say, no, this is going to happen. I think there's a quieter strength that can come through. And for me, this is a new way of being. There's something that I'm not having to fight. It's not someone else's voice. It's my own inner voice. And I need to have a conversation with that inner voice. And rather than fight and have an internal battle, it's about bringing that inner voice on board, because that inner voice is so creative and so convincing about why I should stop and not continue. So why can it not be as convincing in why I should continue? And so it's turning that around. So that's what I realize I actually need to do. And I think it's something with another aspect of imposter syndrome, something you said, you're not supposed to know everything. And yet sometimes you think you think yourself as the expert. So therefore you got stuck in thinking, I have to know everything there is about this area of expertise. Right there, it's like you've immediately put yourself a barrier to you being able to move forward with it. You can only act as a guide. You know, what we do it, you actually just teach people what you've learned. And you are still learning. And it's about being authentic and saying, well, look, this is what I've learned so far. I'm still work in progress, but you're teaching people who haven't, you know, that they haven't learned what you've learned. So you're sharing that knowledge, that wisdom, that experience, and you are still moving forward and growing yourself. So it's actually adopting a growth mindset rather than a fixed mindset. You know, that fixed mindset that says, I can't possibly grow beyond that. You know, I don't have the ability to do that. Rather than focusing on learning and continuing to grow, because you've got that growth mindset that actually sees failure and challenges as opportunities. Because a failure is only a failure to achieve what you wanted to in that moment. Maybe you failed to take the actions that you were meant to take. You failed to succeed in what it was you were attempting to do. It's only feedback. It is not final. It's feedback. I took this action, or I didn't take this action, and this is what I got. This is what's happened. So what do I do now? Take it as feedback and keep learning, keep growing, and keep moving forward. And in terms of where you're at with your house, Nomsa, this, you know, you're waiting on one person to show up who, yes, is still alive, apparently. I love that. He's still alive. Okay. So could this live person please show up and do his job? All you're wanting is a signature. And so for me, what I would do is I would go in and do some inner work. What in me is causing him to behave in that manner? What part of me is putting up a barrier and going, oh, not yet, not yet, and have a conversation, do some work with that inner part of me? Because then I become the creator. I'm not the victim. I'm not, at the whim of someone else. I've created this scenario. For what reason have I created it such that this person shows up in this way? That he's going, yeah, I'm alive, but I'm not signing just yet. And go inside and work with that inner you, that younger you. Maybe it's some past life stuff. It may be generational beliefs, something that's there. Feel into it. Where in your body are you feeling it? And work with it. Send it love and say it's okay. Maybe there's an issue about safety. Is it now safe to take that final step, that last bit where he signs, and it's like, oh, got to do that next step. Feel what's happening in your body and your thoughts, and surround it with love. Send up a prayer, whichever works for you, that would have that be resolved. And then watch what I call the magic unfold. The universe shift, change, and it allows for this person to show up in a different way and actually go, yeah, I am here, boom, 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 and sign. Okay. And that's what I did. Oh, it's quite a few years ago now. It's about 5.5 years ago, when we were looking for somewhere else to live, and we couldn't find anywhere. And then my daughter would find somewhere, it would fall through, and I would keep working on myself. I would keep going, okay, thank you. This isn't the place, but it's something like this, and even better is going to show up. And I kept holding on to that. And then at the very last minute, excuse me, there was a property that my daughter had found absolutely perfect. And she was told no. It was like, oh my goodness. And I'd really got a feeling that this was it. And I just remember praying and saying, okay, Lord, I'm done. I have done everything that I know possible, working on myself, clearing, praying, trusting the process. I don't know that I can think anymore like, well, if this isn't it, then there'll be something even better showing up. What do I need to do now? And that I got a guidance to take some action that I had been putting off. And I spoke with my daughter and said, okay, let's do this. The next morning, we didn't actually need to do it because something changed. All of a sudden, she got a phone call to say, it's okay, we've looked at everything differently and you can have the property. It was just like, literally, it changed. And I was like, oh my goodness. And that is the house that we're now in. But it literally took every ounce of my faith, my belief in the work that I do, but constantly working on myself and what was showing up. What were the conversations that appeared to be blocking? Clear them, But we got here. So, yeah, have that belief and know that you don't need to know everything. That's very true. And what else is there that you could be learning? And yeah, what did you hear in that? That was
I'm
there's
learning
quite a
that
lot there.
I'm learning that life is a journey, and I'm going to do some inner work. And the advice about in your past life and the generational things is something that I really, really strong believe in that, because my pastor really talks about that you have to look at your inner work and look at your family and stuff with some beliefs that you're holding on, and just get rid of them that are holding you back. So I believe that that is true. So I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna trust that life is a process. Life is a process, and give him till Monday, and I'll call him again Monday, see where they are, and see if I can get this signature. And because he said it's because their house has been empty for a very long time. So is we don't need to do all the work. It's all done up and stuff. So it was like they need to do some, make sure that everything is checked out electricity wise and stuff. So maybe that is what is holding, just to get hold of everybody coming in one place so we can move in. Because he showed me where the keys are. The keys are outside there. And it was like, when you meet the person, the keys will be here. So it's
Yeah.
just finding that electronic signature and seeing, meeting them and doing everything. And but at the moment in time, I'm not basically, before I'll be under the pillow worrying about why God did this. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm not questioning God. I'm not questioning my abilities. I'm grateful to Him for what He's brought me through, because doing the things that we do is a gift. And you have to basically have this gratitude that some people might be going through similar way, but they don't know how to deal with it. But for me, I can deal with it. I can, and also I have people that are helping me around me. So I just have to have that mind of being grateful and thanking God for myself and my health, and being able to do the things, because I wouldn't be able to broadcast as well, to come here and be near my daughter's school and broadcast and maybe go and pick her up. So I wouldn't be able to do that. So I'm still lucky that I go to work and I don't have to stay in the office and work there, broadcast. I still have to come home like I used to and do my life. And then when I'm finished, I go and pick my daughter up. So that is because she's 2 minutes away from her granddad in the school.
Ah, nice. Yeah,
Yeah. So
that's
it
lovely.
is nice. And it shows that we don't have to worry about, most people, they worry about uh, people's opinion. We worry about so many things. And when you look at it, I always, one day I look at my friends' life and just watch them, what they do. People are busy with problems, like what you were saying, like there's an energy right now, people wanting to quit something, wanting to do this. I was talking to this girl, she quit her relationship, quit her business the other day in the choir. She quit everything basically. And I said to her, I used to be like that. So I explained to her that I used to be like that. When things don't work out, I'm out. I don't do stress. Honestly, Carol, and when I was in my 20s up to the age of 28, I used to be like, I don't do stress, I don't do this, so I'm out. I quit. So if things get tough, the only way for me is to quit. There are no negotiations. So I had to learn, when I took Paul McKenna's programs, those were big things that a habit that I had to get rid of, quitting things. I had to learn and using prayer as well. Bible, I had to learn to understand the Bible, to understand when I say I'm a Christian, what does it mean? Do I actually have to pretend to be something that I'm not? No, I don't. I just have to be me. And when things get tough, it's a challenge for me. And instead of pretending to be something that I'm not, I have to think, get people in that can help me with whatever is needed. Like if I need advice, and ask, like you've just given me advice to go into do my inner work. past life. Who knows my past life? So I need to deal with my past life and maybe generational things that were there as well. So I know that my family. Um, I look at my family. My family were all successful, but my generation, they are not as successful as my fathers and my grandparents. So I was
Okay.
talking to my uncle the other day, and I said to them, success, wealth, it doesn't just leave family. And I said to him, my great grandparents were successful, and my grandparents were successful, and my parents were successful. So why are we not living the same lifestyle or similar lifestyle? Why do we have to?
Mm.
And my uncle said to me, things do change. I was like, nothing changes. You have to grow. We have to grow. I said, that's when we have to go in and do some work.
Mm.
Because if you have this, all of a sudden your family have everything, and then in this generation things are changing. That means there is something wrong in that generation. So that's why I'm refusing to quit when it comes things like when you were saying go in or look into the generation and stuff. And when I was talking to my father-in-law the other day, and he tells me that, oh, by the way, just before my mom died, I had to go and live with her because I got struggles with the house and stuff. And I was like, was looking for a home. I couldn't find a home that I wanted. And I was like, are you actually telling me my story that we are living your story? So I was like, I rebuke that in Jesus' name.
Yes.
Yeah. So what you're saying, Carol, and
Uh,
it does make sense. Sometimes we have to be people that fight for our lives. We have to be able to seek help. And when life is not working,
mm,
seek help with some people. And even when you fail, look at your values, look at your beliefs, look at your abilities, look at your skills. Not just say, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. Look at the things that you can do. If they can't do whatever is going on, get somebody in. Just let them help. So for me,
absolutely.
basically, my family call me problems, and my ex calls me problems because Nomsa, you don't quit. You are basically pain
Mm.
because
Oh.
there is no point in me pretending
Mm.
that if I can't do something, Kero add. There's no point in me sitting there pretending that I can, knowing that I can't. There's no
No,
point.
no.
So I always seek help.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Then, as you say, there is no point pretending that you can do it when you can't.
yeah,
Seek help, find a way through it, you know.
yeah,
Um, Acknowledge. It is about acknowledging the fact that there's a struggle. And as you said before, embrace it and then work through it. But certainly don't quit. Don't quit because that is where you're likely to have your biggest breakthrough. Um, and sometimes people don't, they avoid taking risks and they avoid sharing ideas because they're fearful that it could be their boss or co-workers, or it could be even their clients. If you've got your own business, you're fearing that they're going to figure out that you really don't know what you're talking about. You could have that thought in the back of your mind, and I know that's been with me a lot, having stepped into this new world, this new business that I'm doing. And at times it is like, oh, people are going to think, well, she doesn't really know what she's talking about, because I fear that they'll ask me a question and I'll go, I should know that. So immediately I've stepped into that. I need to be looked at as the expert. I should know, rather than, even as a teacher, when I was teaching maths, if there were things that I couldn't answer when a pupil asked me a question, I was quite happy to say, oh, not quite sure at the moment. Let me go and have a look. And I would go and have a look and then come back with an answer. And that didn't bother me. I'd got quite happy with doing that. So that's a skill that I need to bring into this. So where that fear has come from is about, oh, you know, people think I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, there are things I know that other people don't know. And that's something I need to recognize, because what I've come to learn and what I've come to know has become so familiar to me that I guess sometimes I also think, well, is it really worth sharing? It's not going to, you know, it's not news, it's nothing new. But actually, to someone else, it is, because they don't know what I've learned. They don't know the experience I've had or what I've now come to learn. They've got their own experiences, they've got their own learnings and their own beliefs. So it is important to share. And I remember an incident that came back to me. It was quite a traumatic incident. When I unlocked the memory, I found myself just sobbing for ages and unlocking this memory. And it was a memory of being asked to give some news it was in the infant school. And it was on a Monday morning. We were stood in front of the class, and it's like, okay, so what news have you got? And I'm just stood there going, I don't know. My mind was a complete blank. I had no idea what to say. And the teacher got quite a bit irritated with me, and then in the end said, well, have you got a sister? And I went, yeah. Well, what's her name? I said, Susan. Well, have you got a brother? Yes. Well, what's his name? Peter. And they said, oh, so you have got some news then. Smacked my leg and sent me back to sit down at my desk. And I'm literally choking back the tears, thinking, well, what was news about that? I've just told the truth, and now I've got punished. And I was like, and it was only a few years ago that I realized, when somebody said to me, oh, thank you for sharing that bit of news. And it was something I'd shared with them. And I understood what the word meant. All that news is something that someone else doesn't know. And all of a sudden it clicked. Well, probably most of those other pupils in my class in the infant school didn't know I had a brother, didn't know his name, didn't know I had a sister, and didn't know her name. So it was news to them, but it wasn't to me. And that again is something to be aware of. That actually what is so familiar to us can be news, can be inspirational to someone else, can actually change someone else's life. Just a sharing of one little snippet of something that you've experienced, or some bit of pearl of wisdom that you've got. You just never know. So you do know what you're talking about. And if you can't answer someone else's question about it, be authentic and say, well, actually, no, I can't answer that question right now. I will go and look it up and I'll get back to you. Because that's all I used to do when I taught. And it worked, you know, because I was able to go away, sort it out, come back, answer their question. Everybody's happy. So, yeah, be prepared to say, well, I don't know right now. I can go and look it up.
Yeah.
Because I have the wherewithal to be able to do that. I know where to go and look it up. I know who to ask.
Yeah.
To find the answer. And that's the key. That's where your expertise comes in. You know people who know the answers that you don't know at the time.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. So recognize that, and recognize that that is also an aspect of imposter syndrome. So yeah, always be willing to say it. Well, I don't know, and go and ask for help. Go and ask for support, and move on. But certainly, who is it? We gain strength and courage and confidence by each experience in which we really step to look fear in the face. We must do that. Sorry, we must do that which we think we cannot. That's Eleanor Roosevelt. That's what she says. And there's what I'd like, I think, to leave people with is this quote by Mark Victor Hansen. Don't wait until everything is just right. It will never be perfect. There will always be challenges, obstacles, and less than perfect conditions. So what? Get started now. With each step you take, you will grow stronger and stronger, more and more skilled, more and more self-confident, and more successful. So
that is awesome. That is awesome. It reminded me of my pastor as well. When he speaks, he said once, if you go to a church where they tell you the fight has already been won, it's like walk out. Because life is full of challenges, and it was like
yes.
life is full of challenges, whether you are a child of God or you are not. That's what life is about. You have to learn not to quit, not to fight. So that made me laugh, your quote. So thank you very much for sharing that, Carol Anna. That's amazing. Yeah. I have to, every time I feel like I want to quit, I'm gonna have to listen to that quote. And also meditate as well. It does help and change your views about life and how you see yourself as well. It does help because if you change your views about failure as well, how you see failures as well, like what Carol Annie you just said as well, it does really help. Pray and meditate when things gets really, really tough. And just know that life is a process and just stand still for one day. Stand still. Just give yourself time and break when you don't need to pretend to be something that you're not or to say, I'm not enough. When you are stuck, stand still for one day. For me, that's what I do. I go to a place where I'm not going to do anything. I'm not even going to get distracted watching TV. I'm just going to pray and meditate and just stand still. And when I get up in the morning the following day is a battle. It's time for me to fight my battles and calling, making phone calls and seeking help. So we don't have to know everything. We don't have to basically think that our life hasn't got value. We have to value our lives and our abilities, because I think that's why we miss this point. I think that's why there's so many people. That's why we are on earth. We are on earth to share ideas, motivate each other, help each other. If you can't do something, ask somebody else. Not meant to know everything. Even God himself, he will consult his father. So why shouldn't we consult other people? So seek help. So thank you so much, everyone who is watching Gossip Talk Shows today. And Carol Ann, is your challenge in October? Writing challenge?
No, that's my in-person retreat.
Okay, your in-person retreat is
I
in
have
October.
an in-person retreat in October. Yeah.
Yes.
My next writing challenge is in June, I think.
Okay,
June
so Carol Anna has a writing challenge in June, and she also has a retreat, right? Is a writing retreat as well?
Writing retreat, yes.
Yes, in November.
October.
So October. So you can get in touch with Carol Ann if you ever wanted to unlock that writing within and you want to write your own book and you feel stuck. Get in touch with her and write that story. Everyone wants to write their biography. So get in touch with her. And if you have different problems, please, you can still get in touch with all the coaches at Imposter Talk Shows and see where we can take life. There are no guarantees for tomorrow. If you keep saying, I will do it tomorrow, next week, no one knows what's going to happen next week. So we are here Monday to Friday, 1 p.m. Live with Grace, everyone. YouTube, subscribe. subscribers, please subscribe to our channel. God bless.